Hello and welcome to Nycos DND. This is the I-9 COVID-19 incursion episode of Visions of Corwin. Today's episode, Pros and Congress. We are going to be starting with introduction of our players as usual. I'm going to ask them to introduce their character by name, class, race, and actually not so much that, just the name and occupation. And the media has basically asking each one of you to make a statement about the congressman's condition, as we have been told that he has been reported in a comatose state at a local clinic. Let's go ahead and start with you, Professor Van Vorst.
I am Professor Victoria Van Vorst. My PhD is in cultural anthropology, specializing in Pacific Coast native cultures. Pretty much,
You are also a
and
cryptologist.
and I am also my other PhD is in cryptobiology.
And could you give us a statement about the congressman's condition?
It concerns me. He seemed to be in such good health to suddenly be stricken like that. I'm worried for him,
All right,
and I
and
will.
what did we determine Grayson's last name to be last week?
Um,
Grayson.
Witherspoon?
Grayson
yeah,
Witherspoon.
Witherspoon. That was it.
Yes, Grayson, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
I am Grayson Witherspoon. I am the astrologer and shaman specializing in the myth of Native American people. And as far as the congressman, I can completely understand why he went into the comatose state because political jargon drove him to that. But that's my statement.
Fair
It's
enough.
All the fault of
he's
politicians.
overworked.
He's overworked. All right. And you, Corporal Aldine.
Alright. I'm gonna just get one.
Joe,
Steven.
John,
Aldine? Oh, Aldine.
John,
Aldine. Corporal.
Yeah,
you're a corporal.
we got promoted. Remember?
Right. I am Corporal Aldine. I can't can't until we have found out the cause of his.
So you have no comment until you know more about what happened.
Yes, and what was approved to say.
There you go. Yeah, I can neither affirm nor deny. Gotcha. Okay. And Major Laughter.
Hello, my name is Samuel After Major, and well, the congressman was he was a right okay fellow, but you see, the point was when the great monster was rising up out of the tank and everything, that he went right over it and saw it. And
Okay,
Thank
you very much, Mr. Slaughter.
What do you mean I can't tell him that?
Thank you. Well done. They drag you out. The military people push you back. Okay. That was well.
That's
played.
how you segue out of a press conference.
That's
right there.
Exactly. Just almost as good as I'm Iron Man.
Yep.
All right, so you're back in outside of the media.
For my benefit, John.
Yes.
Could you? So we last time. Can we clarify what happened last time?
Okay. What is known is that part of the specimen ended up in the congressman's hand, and he was moving it theoretically to the next room and it was already well and dead because somebody had shot it. So as he was transiting it, who knows what happened, but after he had dropped it off at the medical counter, he was supposedly going back to his quarters and collapsed in the hallway in convulsions. They couldn't figure out what caused it. They ran him to the hospital, attempted to intubate, found they couldn't even pass the passage through his throat, so they had to they had to actually crack his trachea, and so they've got him on oxygen, but he's in a induced coma while they figure out what the hell's going on. They aren't sure what happened exactly, and so they'll get back to you as soon as they know.
Okay. And for the rest of us, we had the situation with the thing coming up out of John while he meditated, and then apparently I was somehow summoning a giant static who's what's it, which didn't do much to help. And then
Who was waiting for this thing to manifest? Yeah.
Right.
And Lassiter had the gun.
Yeah.
And shot it.
Okay, so
in his panic, he shot whatever it was against the wall. That Aldine was trying his best to reverse the situation by trying to re-ingest it, which was not working. He was not working with much success.
Okay, so I leave for like hour or so, and things go even more crazy. But
Yep.
Right, is anybody hungry?
Kind of.
Oh god, here we go again.
I think scrambled eggs and spam sound really good right about now.
I want some spam, eggs, and spam.
Okay, are you, Major Laughter, are you not at all concerned that you seem to be unnaturally frequently hungry?
Oh no, we figured that shite out.
They figured that part out last week.
As long as he's not sleeping, I ain't hungry for the human flesh.
Oh!
Where's my lunch? He slams his tray down on the cafeteria place, and they're all terrified of him and not bring anything forward.
It's really funny. He comes into the place and it's swamped. Everybody at the buffet line, they look over, see him, and all of a sudden they clear out.
Isn't it great not to have to wait in lines?
Oh, geez.
I think maybe it's because you bit the last person when you were in a line.
No, it's out of respect because I'm in charge now and the ranking officer on the base.
Oh.
Worse than that, you're in charge again.
Oh dear.
Because the congressman was there for a little bit, remember? So.
Okay. Well,
As a matter of fact,
we'll deal with that after lunch.
There will be some. That would be one of the media questions too. Would have been a good thing you started shouting about monsters, because otherwise they'd have been asking you whether or not you were complicit in the congressman's illness. Since it didn't get back in charge again.
What? Okay. I would never do that. Anyways, so I'm going to invite the professor and Grayson and John all to sit down with me at the executive table to have lunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I ordered the cook to only make steaks and meats.
Don't bring any more of those veggies in here. We don't need those.
No, she wants vegetables. She says I want a green salad and I want a steak medium rare.
You're not gonna. It's not. They're not short order cooks. If there's steaks available, then they're all piled up under a heat lamp for you to go get.
Right.
Well, no,
Listen, I'll wait for one that's hot off the grill. Yay!
Well,
I'm
I
back.
missed out on the ribs. Damn it!
So,
You guys took all the ribs.
being a typical Indian, I go straight for like corn or something like that.
Well,
Wow.
Right there, corn is outlawed in this part.
They're omnivores in that part of the world there, Grayson. You can have
They're omnivores in all parts of the world.
Yeah, when they could get meat, they ate meat.
Okay, so a little bit of everything, man.
Yes.
A little bit of meat, a little bit of corn.
There's no corn.
A little bit
This
of
is the thing.
Sandra in the sun.
Green beans are
Okay.
ubiquitous.
Great.
And
So, anyways, we all are situated with our food, and
Yep.
I would like to
No.
have a talk with all of you
Go for it.
because we need to curtail these sort of solo flyer shenanigans. We need to
Okay.
work together if we're gonna figure this shite out and not eat each other. Haha. Pardon my French.
well,
If it's you, maybe.
so
So let's get together and compile what we know.
Okay.
We know that I have some sort of connection with the past, and that some sort of entity of like Salvata is somewheres around me. I'm guessing because they said Salvata returns when I entered the room. Anyways, we know that Johnny Boy was also connected to the events that happened in the past with his family and mine together,
yes.
eating each other, and that he seems to be, well, his family seems to be somewhat at fault for they summoned this thing.
No, I didn't tell you guys this. I didn't tell you that.
Not you specifically, but
Yeah,
I
you
think
did.
it was contaminated by the Wendigo. Is a better word.
yes, I think I
And there is,
honestly
I don't know the mechanism. Grayson, you probably would know better how he contaminates those he uses.
I have no idea, nor will I
From what
be
I-
able to tell you or
from what I know, the Wendigo like it.
You already told us,
Yeah.
Stephen. It's okay.
So
Oh, I know what I didn't tell you.
what we need to, I think what we need to do is stick together as a group. I mean, we could split into teams, but that seems to cause
Oh, that's why we're all here together.
yeah.
We're all one big team. So we're trying to compile all our information right now.
Agreed. So
Anything that I'm forgetting?
no, it seems that whatever is in you is waiting for this thing, and apparently to wreak his just revenge on it or to destroy it.
Well,
It's-
he was doing more than that. Remember, I was focusing for him to just, well, to try to stop what he was. I wasn't meaning to summon anything, but I was trying to lend protection to see if I could stop bad things from happening. And he was
Okay.
waiting, I suppose, for bad things to happen until what's that fellow's name? Lassiter?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Lassiter snapped me out of it and woke me up. And that's when it went away and could not do any more to help. So I think that's something we could experiment with safely, because there's no shite coming out of my mouth yet.
So yeah.
Shit
You
comes out of
it
your mouth all the
concerns
time. What are
me
you
that
talking
you say yeah, but
Well, because I don't know the future.
so
you?
no, but Grayson is trying to think if there is since Lester said that Silvata is around him, is there some safe ritual that I would know about to let us like
How about we try to find the thing that's here already? That red thing.
What red thing?
The Bigfoot? That was in the tape?
Oh, we could look into that.
Yeah. I think maybe that's the next
Yeah.
thing to do is get out there.
so you guys want to go to Mount Hood or
Yeah. Yeah, Mount Hill. Well, that's where it was, wasn't it?
I suppose so.
no, I thought okay.
We're
Where
gonna go
was
hunting
the
for a rabbit.
Patterson tape actually filmed? Because we would know that.
What was the question?
We're
Where
looking
was-
for where the Patterson film was actually filmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They give you the actual physical location. It's on the slopes of Mount Hood.
So it
Right.
is connected to, because Mount Hood was also where the event took place.
Right.
So that should probably be our next, at least a stop, if not our next stop, unless there's something more we need to do around here.
I
I don't-
agree entirely.
Okay.
It might be able to give us.
So by doing his first thing people would have you would have looked into was the expression of the gooey stuff from the mouth. That parallels to the ideas represented in the 1920s, known as ectoplasm. It was believed that spiritual contact between the contact between human body and spiritual beings would create this material, this gooey.
I remember those old crazy photos with the stuff coming out of the mouth and.
Right, people vomiting and whatever, and it was always
Yeah.
this really creamy, clear effluvia, and it occasionally would have stuff floating in it. For the most part, it was clear. It's actually associated historically with the Native Americans' beliefs that illnesses were actually evil spirits.
So.
Shall we go to this? Is the place that wait?
So, based on what I know about that, I could associate this thing that we shot as illness or evil spirit.
Yes.
Is the tribe still? Does the tribe still exist?
All the tribes still exist, more
Yeah.
or less.
No, the tribe that this came from.
Tribe.
It's ubiquitous.
Oh, it's
I mean, it doesn't belong to any one person. It belongs.
No, okay. So you're asking about this philosophy about possession and spirits. That's across the spectrum. It came from Native
Yeah.
Americans. In specific, though, the more precise question that I think he's asking is whether or not the Native American tribes in the area of Mount Hood, if they are the same ones that were there in the distant past, and that does lead to some curious. You're going to have to do some research on that because Grayson doesn't have the specifics on tribal movements. Although the Pacific coastal tribes didn't move a lot, they did have differing hunting grounds and such within their areas.
So I couldn't do any. We'd have to do research on that as a group. I could personally not do research onto that because I don't.
So when we talk about when people start doing stuff collectively, it's that we're basically kind of assigning different tasks that the people are doing. So this is like okay.
Yeah, so I would do the thing and you would do the other thing.
So, for example, I can comb the military records to see if there's anything else that is linked back to my family or anything else before Enoch.
Yeah.
Because I only went up to Enoch. So maybe if there's any more military records about that incident or anything, maybe they might have been in some sort of like military, like the Union or I don't know. And then Grayson can look into the Native American angle because that's his repartee.
Yeah.
And the professor, what would you like to look into? Gene?
Who the land belongs to?
I'm thinking of the cryptobiology.
So
I like
angle?
the.
You're going to pursue the Bigfoot angle with John because he was wanting to go out and see the site.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to do that too. I thought we were going to do a round of research before we go.
That's fine too.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. We had a chemical analysis of this stuff, right? It was silicon based,
Yes.
not carbon based.
Yes.
Boy, that would set the cat among some pigeons if this ever got out.
Ah, I figured it out. This is in meta.
Mm-hmm.
I figured it out. He walks over to Lassiter and pulls off the mask, revealing that he is the Bigfoot.
Nice.
And then pulls off another mask. It's Old Man Williams.
Nice.
And yeah, I pull off the mask and it's Lester again.
No, then pull off another mask and you're Scooby-Doo.
Ooh.
Is that a Moinkin?
Anyways, that was my joke for today.
So, yeah. So,
So what is the professor looking into?
Hello?
Gene?
Oh, crypto. I was doing some research on
Big
silicon.
Bigfoot and
Oh,
spiritualism. See if there's any connection.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I
Okay,
was.
John, what would you like to look into?
Next
Oh, I already said
call.
that.
No, we know where you're going when you want to go there. But before that, did you anything you want to do in advance of that?
Um, I just want, and then no, yeah, I want to, narrow down the tribe. Right now, that's it. That's all I can think of.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Because there's not a lot of research that I could do here on silicon-based creatures. What is
Oh, also, I now remember. Uh, like which tribe owned the land or the land we took from them?
Specifically?
Yeah,
You want to look into that? Okay.
that too. Like
I
since
think
it's, I'm gonna be looking at ancestors. Like,
microfiche in the local library.
Haha.
All right. So let's see here. I had to do some personal quick background search. Uh, let's see. Okay, so
10-minute break.
so Grayson, the Native American cultures don't actually have any historical direct link to the idea of spiritualism in the Western sense, but the Native Americans did believe that the association between disease and spirituality was strong, and so therefore they saw the very process of vomit as being a sign of
cleansing?
cleansing yourself from
Yeah,
disease. So they, similar to a lot of canine species, would eat grasses when they felt illness coming on, thinking that
because because they believed it was a form of medicine almost.
Well,
right, but
so
it
if
was
they get
actually
hold of mustard grass, it is a purgative.
right. Well, and in particular, the issue is that they believe that because most grasses have those little tiny, what do you call them, almost like villi that are,
The hairs?
yeah, little hairs that are on there. They tickle the throat, naturally. So they thought that was they didn't think about the chemical nature of it. They just thought of it as grabbing whatever was inside your stomach and pulling it out. So the idea that that when they would throw up, they would then burn whatever came out of them, the expurgative, because they thought
It's
that
an
it was
evil spirit.
right.
Okay.
So that falls in line with this parallelism in John between seeing the spirit of the fire and the spirit of the creature with tentacles. It's the, if you will, the equivalent of yin and yang within the heart of the Native American tribes.
Okay. Okay.
So that takes care of where you were looking at. Professor, you were looking into the specific nature of silicon-based creatures, and there are only three fundamental forms on Earth that utilize silica in their structure, and all of them use it as a form of the way human beings, for example, have calcium in their bones. The radiolaria is a protozoan that uses a silicon structure kind of as a skeleton within its
Yeah,
microorganismic existence.
but it was a carbon-based creature using it as a structure,
Right. So
not as its basic life function.
yes.
Of course, we don't know if this thing has a life function or it's just.
We having the same problem with sound again, Travis?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm fixing it.
I thought it wouldn't happen if we didn't have the other microphone hooked up.
Make sure that the plugs are all the way pushed in on both places real quick.
I do every time I use it nowadays to make sure that I don't have any problems, but I'll do it again.
Yeah, because your voice is very low and can.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's no difference.
His voice is fine to me.
Well, then unplug it and plug it back in just real quick.
Speak.
Testing 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3.
We don't. We don't hear you speaking at all.
I heard. I know you.
That's okay.
I get you. It's saying that it's didn't have.
Now we're barely hearing you.
Yeah.
Barely.
No idea. Everything's showing high and mighty, so it should be coming through loud and clear.
Well, we hear you, so
Yeah, whatever.
We will endeavor to be very quiet when you speak so that we can hear everybody can hear you.
Well, that would be wise anyway. But microphone's even facing the right way and everything, so there's not like.
I
Wow.
can.
there we go.
Travis, it's your damn computer again.
It's not my computer.
How about now? Is that any different?
Yes, that's better.
Sound the same to me.
Don't understand.
Okay, that's better.
I still don't understand why it's different.
That's even better. That just all of a sudden blared out at us.
Blair. The Blair Witch Project. Yeah, which Blair Project? The Blair
Oh,
Witch
God.
Project.
I got okay.
Yeah,
I've never seen that one either.
the video game.
I heard it's not that good.
The video game?
No, what made that movie work was the fact that they did all of their marketing underground and used the web to make it look like it might be a real thing before they actually released the movie. So that people
Yeah,
could
I
point
thought that
to
was
it.
pretty cool.
So, whatever you did, you
That
gotta
was-
find a way to make it stay that way now, Travis. Don't let it break again.
Okay, 7.
I'll go booga booga, say that way.
What? We're gonna change it again?
No,
Just
it's
give me a
okay.
second. Just give me a second.
That's coming off the microphone, off the webcam.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, come on.
Okay,
Yeah.
should be better now.
Okay. So if I
Yeah. Oh, it just cut out.
No,
No, it
that's messed
didn't.
up, John.
I was just messing with you guys.
Oh, shut up. Rotten boy. And I'm the only person here that can call you boy.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh my God.
Okay, yeah, everything
Well,
should be.
everyone else could call me Reverend Father, I suppose, right? Because of my age.
Oh,
Okay, everyone can hear. Good. Yep, everything's working. Hooray!
yep.
Yeah. We are
Yep.
ready.
Lovely.
Yay.
Sorry.
All right, and I can shut that window down there. Okay. Yay. All right.
And, you know,
So, Professor, you were looking at this on the silicon life forms, and there are no examples of any silicon life forms, although there are several species of protozoans that have manifested the use of silicon in their structure because they are so small, and the silicon molecules are sturdy enough to be skeletal almost in nature.
Okay.
So your only thought is that the creatures you just saw looked like basically overgrown versions of those, but that's the only real science you have concerning that. You also do have, however, a bit of awareness of the fact that in the 1920s, some of the ectoplasm did test as being of a silicon base, more than likely made by a silicon froth by boiling or heating up glass, and that the froth was what was visually being used to represent ectoplasm, but it was probably used only in the filming of the fraudulent cases of it.
Yeah.
I have a question. In meta,
Mhm.
are there any organelles? If it is a single-celled living organism, then it should have organelles like mitochondria and little other.
Just the orbs that you found that look more like eyes.
Then that would make it less likely to be a living organism and
But-
more to be something other.
By our definitions, at least, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a slime.
Just to throw a little biology to the.
It's
You know,
whatever
biologists.
it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly.
The other thing she's going to do is find out what destroys it. Okay, in other words, what reagent
Bullets.
can she use that attack it, its structure? To try to
Acid?
find a chemical that, if a body was invaded by this stuff, how could we kill it without killing the patient?
The most obvious would be heat, because silicon would break down under the heat. It would actually kind of glass.
Well, I know that doesn't work.
Yeah. Remember, that's the whole myth, is that they put it, they lit it on fire. Historically.
Mm.
Alrighty, next was, let me go back to my quick list here.
That and the creature that was in my dreams was in fire.
Right.
That's
Okay.
all it-
Laughter, looking for history before.
Real quick, for information, denatured alcohol or vinegar will dissolve silicone.
Oh shit! I gotta drink some alcohol.
Okay.
I don't know if they have the resistance or anything else. I just know that earthly silicone can be dissolved by isopropyl alcohol or vinegar.
Yeah, the
Oh.
problem with isopropyl alcohol is you can't feed it to anybody. You can rub it on them, but you can't.
Well, regular alcohol might have some sort of effect, just not as
But vinegar,
Strong.
you can drink cider vinegar
Well, I might as well test
without
it.
harm.
Test them both. Test
It'll
the
make you.
liquor.
It can make you yag if you drink it in too high a concentration.
But anyways, I just wanted to. I quickly look that up.
Right.
What can dissolve vinegar? As a biologist, you would probably know that.
Yep.
So they could be armed with
It's safer than fire, anyways. And alcohol, when lit on fire, makes a nice, fun weapon.
Well, then what we'll do is get some 99% alcohol.
You know what I'll do is get some milk and vodka.
Oh my god.
Oh, interesting note here. You find in the history, there is a historic reference to a Desmond Laughter working for the Department of the Treasury.
Really?
Yes, in 1812,
Hmm.
which would put it before the incident in off Mount Hood.
So even the original was working for the military.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least for the government.
Yes.
Well,
Not to
that means I'm a military man through and through, I suppose.
Sorry to hear.
Which right questionable that is.
Mhm.
Anything else about what he did?
His assignment had to do with transiting. Let me go back and see if I can get an actual task for it. Just a second.
while you're looking that up,
Yeah.
we're gonna assume that Sam got the information that you're looking up, and while everyone else is doing their research, he's gonna prepare to go out, get supplies together, make some orders to get a couple of jeeps or whatever
Army
loaded with
peoples,
camping supplies,
guns.
and ask for
Machine guns.
volunteers of guards who wish to come with.
Sure. Here we go. That's what I was looking for.
Or become.
You know. Oh,
What are you muttering about, Stephen?
Nothing. Nothing.
and just to reinforce that, nothing.
Something. Well, nothing terrible. It was just a joke.
Yep, I don't see any other reference to what in particular the task was. But
Hey, sounds good.
it is odd that he would have been in what would have been the Oregon Territory. It wasn't yet a state.
Not that early.
Well, you saying that he's from the Treasury, that would mean that he works for the CIA.
Well, yeah, they didn't have CIA yet. The Treasury was the Treasury back then.
Right, but the Secret Service of the Treasury is what became
Right,
the CIA.
Yeah, but they didn't have that until later too.
right. So we're way ahead of that, but it's the other thing you would find is that Desmond was actually a Mason. There you go.
Ah, Mason.
Illuminati.
No, he built houses. Come on.
Clearly built the pyramids. That's their claim to fame.
Built Washington D.C.
Oh, the joke is they know where all the bodies are buried. That's why they did the mummies. Yeah.
Haha.
Ha 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 ha. Alrighty, so yeah, you got all the information from the little bit of research. So we're headed out to the recording site.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So Major Laughter's gonna get together things. He's gonna
Wait,
get
what
together.
about my research?
You didn't choose any research.
we asked you several times, and I didn't get the idea that you had any particular.
Yeah, I said, oh, I got it. Who owned the land through, like, what tribe
Okay,
owned the
which
land?
tribe?
Here's a news flash for you. Okay, so looking through the research, the idea of land ownership among the Native American tribes was not existent. That was not important to them, if you may recall. The very idea that somebody could own land was exactly why, for example, the East Coast Indians were so quickly buffaloed, because they were offered beads for owning land when they didn't even think about owning property as a thing. They assumed that all land was free to everybody all the time. So
Yeah, the concept of land ownership was not part of the Native
The land
American.
belongs
Well,
to the
what Native
land.
Americans lived on the land?
I'm going to look that up right now because I didn't have that information.
Okay.
I make him work.
Any than that, I suggest everybody get prepared and just plan out
Yeah.
in your own mind what you have with you and what you're taking with.
I'm taking an extra
Yeah.
army.
And you can't take the kitchen sink, Professor.
Taking Alexa.
Vicky.
I'm taking.
Vicky. Is that what you're calling me?
Well, you don't respond to Professor.
Sorry. I had brought my stuff with me in the sense of her trekking gear.
All right. So for clarification, at that point in time, there were, and the quote from the local newspaper is that there were a multitude of autonomous tribes in the area. So
Okay.
there was no longer any specific. At that point, there was no specific tribes. To this day, down to the current 1960s, there were 9 federally recognized tribal groups, the largest of which was the Wishram.
Wishra. Okay.
Which-
Now, was this like, I mean, were these recognized as like Cherokee Nation, or is that probably a bit too early for that?
No,
Like,
okay. So Cherokee are far, far, far from here philosophic.
Yeah, they're the mid-east
So
ish.
the tribes in the area, just to rattle them off: Chinook, Cladstup, Chilwits, Tillamook, Aflatavi, Tualatin,
Did the
Silets,
Tillamook make cheese?
Yes, no, the people in Tillamook brought cattle. The Lukamute, Yakina, Alsi, Susla, Umpula, Hanneskus, the Milikus, Tutune, Shakil, or Kokil, Chetko, and on and on and on and on and on. There must be 50 of them in the area.
okay.
All right, that's fine.
Oof.
So a
That
lot
didn't help.
of
No, but that's okay.
trouble.
But those closest to the area of the cameras today in the 1960s would have been Wishram.
Wishra. Okay.
Okay.
Alright. Let me see anything else interesting. Yeah, the interesting note. In the late 1820 the early 1820s and the late teens, a plague of disease was brought into the area by settlers. Waves of disease swept among them from 1812 to 1824. Smallpox, measles, and an unknown ailment known as the eye fever.
What?
Okay, I would wanna just do a quick. We don't have time to find out more about this eye fever, what it was, but that does.
That will take you a little bit more research, but that is an interesting note that it's called the eye fever. How's that for creepy?
Yeah, it is
Creepy.
very creepy. Your world is blending in with our world, John. Stop it.
So I'm gonna take my shamanistic stuff and any wait, what weapon? I guess like pistol or something.
Weapon?
My weapon is my liquor and my machine
Just
gun.
in case I need it.
Sorry, AK-47. No,
Well,
wait.
Sam's
Tommy
going
gun.
to have the broken trench knife that was Enix
Mm-hmm.
pre-finding his claymore.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to also have his brass shillelagh
Mhm.
and his wits. Can't forget
I'm
those.
gonna have my
I
machine
Well,
gun.
It would be a rifle.
You only bring half of them, so you're only halfway.
Okay.
Ha ha ha. No, John's coming along.
Nice.
He has a hunting rifle with
I'm bringing my
30-06
Tommy gun
5.
that I found on base because fuck yeah.
Okay,
You're
I'm
bringing what?
Army, military personnel that have guns.
You're bringing a contingent of the Corps with you?
No, he wants to bring a machine gun.
Machine gun and contingent of the Corps with me.
A machine gun. 30 cal Browning? Great. All right.
I was thinking Tommy, man. Tommy is cool.
Tommy. Okay. Clarification: the Thompson machine gun was not a machine gun. Thompson was a submachine gun. Machine gun specifically refers to basically almost anti-vehicular weaponry. It's a suppression gun, usually mounted on a tripod, and usually puts down somewhere between 50 and 100 rounds per second. So you're way over as far as firepower. If a Thompson submachine gun is actually got less kick, less stopping power than say a 22 rifle, because the muzzle velocity was really low because it fired 45s.
Oh, I see. Well, then I'm taking the machine gun then.
And then
Wait, what?
You probably wouldn't be able to carry it.
I
I'm
don't think
bringing
they'd
the
let it
car.
out. I don't think they'd let him take a machine gun out into a populated area.
Well, first of all, actually, the area you're going to isn't populated. That was kind of the point. They were up on the mountain when they took the pictures. As far as him bringing the gun, it's only going to work if he's going to bring an entire squad, because then they could actually justify bringing a heavy weapon among them. But why would be the hard part. How are you going to justify? What proof do you have that Bigfoot is dangerous enough that you need a machine gun?
Well,
Oh.
what we have here is an unknown unknown. And versus a known, we know. We know that bullets kill these slimes. But this thing is huge, gigantic. We don't know what it can do. How much armor it's on its fur. We don't know if a bullet can pass through it. With this,
We're not looking to kill it.
He
with
is.
this thing,
He clearly
if
is.
there's an army of them, we can take them on.
That's
Fire.
simple, Major. You say the military says no.
That is
military
what the
says
military says. The military says no. The major says no, but he's going to make a concession and give him a pistol.
Okay.
I want an AK-47 at least.
Hey,
That's
already
not
been
even
invented
existed yet.
You get a pistol. Probably
Hey,
army
We have an
issue.
army. We should have a.
hey,
The
He
US
gets an M9. It's fine.
Yeah, the U.S. Army, the common issued rifle was the AR-15, also known as the M16.
There's
Even in the
difference.
60s?
That's well, the late 60s into the 70s.
Well, we're not late, are we? Are we?
We are.
67.
yeah, we're late.
It's fine. Either way, he's only getting a pistol.
Fair enough.
Could I
We're
actually
getting that thing. Damn
would
it.
I
You are
Yeah.
a corporal. You don't have access.
Well,
would
I'll
I
make-
be
I'll
would
write
I
down.
be able to take a rifle or not? It's fine if I can only have a pistol.
No, a hunting rifle from a person who has a Native American background, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, so I'd be taking my hunting rifle.
30-30 or something like that.
Yeah.
I want my machine gun though.
Oh my God, he's a child, a baby. I want a machine gun. You don't get one. I wouldn't want to be around you with one.
It's okay. You don't get the choice.
I do.
Wow. Okay, so we are headed up to the site, and he may be grumbling about his pistol all the way, but by the time he gets there, he's figured out how to reload it and put the bullets in the magazine, the whole 9 yards. So he's up
I
to
never
speed.
told him where the safety was.
Nice.
My safety is my finger not on the trigger, sir.
Sounds good.
She's carrying a pistol on her hip.
Okay.
Now that we're all locked and loaded for no reason.
Yeah, we're all hunting, ready for bear.
Oh, there is a reason why we're locked and loaded. It just may not actually work.
Okay. So you got the site. There's actually 2 or 3 cars there when you get to the area, and before you can even get unloaded, pretty much the media is out with their little portable recording devices and are like chasing you down, trying to get a story.
How did they know we're here?
They've been out here since the film was made.
Oh,
They've been waiting for somebody to come and answer their questions.
The major's gonna get on his radio and secretly call for two trucks up here with a couple of military guys to guide the news agencies in the opposite direction.
Hey, this is why I brought my army, man.
you didn't
With-
bring an army. You're a
With
corporal.
gentle prejudice. Right. So,
Yeah,
what you need
do
to
have-
know?
You do have you do have like as well. If he did bring a contingent of a squad, then they would be able to act as your police force until such time as the local authorities get here. basically saying they can't get close to you guys. So you don't have to worry about answering any questions. But what do you want to know about the place, the facility, the location?
Where was the tracks in heading
Yeah,
to?
where, like,
Whereabouts was it filmed?
yes.
Okay, so they show you basically where the evidence, what little evidence is left of the vehicle that was sitting here. If you recall, the figure you guys know as Sergei or Corwin was here at this location. Seen stepping back into a car at this location, and that the figure of the beast walked away at that point, and the footage is being filmed from a distance of about 150 yards away, so farther than a practical rifle shot, but with the camera's built-in lens or whatever, they were able to determine that it would look like Corwin. And then they show you the pathway, and there are still marked on the ground the spots where they took the plaster footprints of the monster, so to speak.
Are there still footprints available, or have they washed away?
No, they're still here. It's only been a week or so since the film was made. So
Grayson will likely want to examine them to see if he can track what type of creature or entity this may be, and if there
well, there's some issues with the footprints. First off, there's an issue of the mass over area. The footprints based on the height of the creature given by comparison with the known landmarks would have made the creature more than likely, if it was mammalian, weigh someplace close to 500 or 600 pounds, and yet the depth of the footprints are not nearly that deep. They don't show the kind of pressure that would have been exerted on the dirt at that time.
Okay, so I will
Nimros, dang it.
make a note of that and be like,
Nimros, give him a hug.
be good. So I noticed that and kind of,
You're kind of what?
Grayson is thinking that this may be not a leaning towards a hoax, or would he even think that,
Well, a hoax is a possibility, but what else
Yeah.
do you know about the 8-foot thing that you saw inside the property, inside the center, near the chambers?
It wasn't.
yeah,
It wasn't
more,
totally manifested in this world, baby.
it wasn't fully physical, from what I'm remembering.
So
There
are
we
we
go.
saying that this thing isn't fully physical either? It
That's-
looked pretty damn physical on that tape.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so just was clarifying on the first bit of evidence, the footprints don't represent the kind of mass that it should have given the
Yeah.
size of the creature. Second of all, the footprints are too wide because although there is a clear arch to the foot, the dirt implant, the dirt displacement is deeper in the arch area than it should be. So in other words, the foot doesn't even act like a even though the print is sort of humanoid in shape, it nonetheless doesn't have the standard heel toe.
Which is flat.
Right. Usually when there's a step made, the heel strikes a little bit harder and is a little bit deeper because the surface area is smaller as the creature steps forward, and then as it rolls to the ball of the foot, it also goes a little deeper at that end as the pressure of the foot on the ground is made more per square inch as the person steps. So normally a footprint would roll through the step. This doesn't.
Some kind of robot?
Well, it looks
Robot.
like it looks like the steps were made flat.
Yeah, so this is
Like a dead.
either,
A prosthetic
Where's that
is
TV
that-
coming from?
The TV has got to be Steven, would be my guess.
No, it's quite honestly,
It's Gene.
it's news.
Yeah.
But I'm
we
not
should be looking
watching
at
it.
that stuff.
so
Let me turn it off.
Okay.
So yeah,
Much
he's
better.
kind of leaning towards this might be a hoax because this is not tracking with what he knows about what he saw.
Well, you're only right now dealing with what you saw in the
Yeah.
video, not taking into account what you saw in the room, because again, it was not in manifesting in this nature fully. So, the third thing to note is that the stride distance is arguably shorter than it should be.
Okay, that's interesting.
Which means it might be a smaller man wearing some extension to the leg, because a prosthetic hits the same way as this does. It just hits flat. So if he had an extension on his legs to give him that length of leg,
You guys had asked for backup. Guess who comes rolling up in a jeep with the rest of a team? It's MJ.
Oh hey!
Oh, yeah, what's up, Stretch?
hey, it's peekaboo.
I don't know. That's somebody else at another time at another place.
We
We happen to know though that you happen to have cosplayed her earlier, so she's going to be highly popular one day. So peekaboo is a perfect cosplay costume. See, so.
I apologize, but can someone remind me who Marjorie is?
Marjorie was the
Reporter.
No.
that was
That was
the.
that.
I'm the.
I brought her in to examine the goo because it looked like a drawing I saw in school. when we were-
college crush that's into
the college
Wait,
crush that I
we're
am.
gonna go on the date.
the antique.
Don't talk over each other.
Sorry.
The antique dealer.
They were.
No, you're not the one talking over each other. They're talking over you.
Yeah.
You're the one trying to introduce your character.
Right. So Marjorie Marsh is the daughter of a antiques family. Well, let me rephrase. A family that owns an antique shop, and she's
Yeah, it's funny. She's the daughter of an antique family.
yeah, my family's so ancient. I tell every time that my favorite joke is when I tell them that my family is an antique.
Yes, exactly.
They
That's a Marjorie joke.
with a minor in biology or science.
Yeah, she's the one who had the picture of the amoeba thing that looked like.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the one that said this is part of a brain, y'all, or a brain.
Brain.
Okay, so we are currently
That
investigating the Bigfoot footprints out in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get her anchor in just a second. So
So are we saying that this might be someone in a suit?
I'm saying that it's looking like it, but I'm still not discounting that this is the entity we've been looking for.
It sure looks like, but the arm, I mean, the bend of the elbow was in the right place for a creature of that size. So,
Well,
This-
what about the knees? How low were the knees? Maybe he's got fecked up small legs.
so you think it might be a smaller creature inside a larger creature?
No, it clearly saw that it was a big creature. I'm just saying, did anyone notice its legs? Did its legs move? Because we're
It looked
okay,
like
in
the
meta.
knees were quite low.
in meta, we're saying we're comparing the stride length to what a human would be at that size, but maybe his dimensions aren't
right,
of such a build.
right,
That's something we have to consider. So.
right.
In fact, we have to run some tests on various size people in a suit and what sort of extensions they would have to have so that we get the elbow at the right distance, the shoulder swing correct, and then the knee bending it with what look in the right place.
How far
In
does this
meta, I want to do a
go?
joke real quick.
Sure.
Major Samuel's gonna go over to where the car supposedly was in the
Right.
footage,
Right.
and he's going to kneel down, and he's gonna take out his Enix
Knife.
Right.
broken knife and say, "Grandfather, we are very
Nice.
close to the
Nice.
man,
Nice.
but I need your help.
Let me
Guide my
guide
trench
you."
knife. Please, Father, please." He's gonna close his eyes and wander around, see if he finds a car.
A car.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's in his meta.
He's looking for a car. That's very funny. Okay, let's see. She actually, the reason why Marjorie has shown up out here is that she's gone back and looked into some of the Northern California newspapers to see if anything because they were a lot more advanced than they were in Oregon even back then, as far as keeping track of history or whatever. And in Humboldt County, the first oversized footprints were found in 1918.
Okay.
And so she has the actual plaster casts.
That was the first time these footprints were found?
Yeah, first time the concept of the Sasquatch or a Bigfoot was found in the United States.
Ah.
They were actually originally called Saskets, SASQ''ETS, which was the origin of what we call Sasquatch. But the Sasket was the term that the French took from the Satali First Nation peoples.
And Saskets means what?
Saskets refers to the wild men of the forest.
Okay.
Okay.
How far did the tracks lead?
Okay, so that's an interesting question too. The tracks start almost immediately at the car tracks. Later, Patterson is going to claim that they actually came from across the road, and therefore the car tracks obliterated them. But the original story said that they started at where they parked the truck.
So like maybe the thing got a ride up in here.
That's the idea.
To
But the pathway that it takes walks across that clearing, and on the other side of the clearing, those tracks vanish. There are no other tracks beyond it. You're able to follow them basically all the way across, and they're pretty damn obvious. It's almost like the thing was doing the opposite of what a creature that was wild would do, because normally wild beings walk very gently and try to occlude their pathway. Even deer are known to follow singular pathways through the trees to make sure that they don't indicate how recently they passed. But
And this
So
thing,
there's a chance that it wanted us to follow the footsteps.
there was
Yes.
a chance that it wanted those people to film it.
Sam's gonna go over to where the car was and see if he can get a read on the tire treads. See if there's something particular about what the car left behind before we go follow the footsteps.
what's your question, Marjorie? About the goop? You want to know what
Oh,
happened?
no, I'm not asking about it. Somebody else was asking about brain, and I was saying the goop was the brain.
Yeah, that was her assessment of it. It looked like a
Yeah.
brain cell because it didn't have mitochondria in it.
yeah.
Anyway,
So it's a piece of something larger.
okay. So at the place where the car tracks and whatever, the one thing that you'll notice is that the heel track of the very first of the Bigfoot prints is deeper there than anywhere else.
Like it was leaning out of the car or getting out of the car.
Like it got out of the car.
Yeah.
That bastard got out of the car. Right. Well, let's follow these shitey footsteps. I'm starting to question things now.
Okay, so you follow the footprints across the expanse, and you can look back and see that in actuality, although the footage started at a certain point, and you can actually triangulate where the vehicle was when where the horses were when they first started taking the picture. There's two things that are kind of odd, and that is, given the description that Patterson gave of where he was and where his horse was or whatever, the prints don't. The prints mean that there should have been a horse's shadow across part of that film, and there isn't. So there's something screwy about what Patterson said as well about where he was.
Patterson.
Yeah.
I have a question with him.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And the other note is that the footprints of the beast goes directly across the clearing, basically to the edge of where anything could be possibly seen by the camera. So, if that creature went in any direction from that point, it would be difficult to be pursued. There's no other tracks at all.
Does that indicate that the creature possibly knew where the camera was, or is that too meta?
No, that's exactly what it seems. It seems that it knew that it was being filmed.
Okay, that leads.
What about where didn't it interact with a man?
Yes, it was when the image first starts. There's a man standing beside this beast, and the creature walks away from him expeditiously, like it's turning and speeding away from him as if it's been caught, and yet it seems to know exactly where it's going to be filmed.
Can we look at the point where they might have met, where the tracks changed direction?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where they must have changed direction. Yeah, you can go right to the end of the tracks, but there's no indication of where they went from there.
But I meant where it was standing, talking to the man or interacting with the man.
There are no footprints of any people. Just the vehicle.
Any other ideas, people? Gene, you have any ideas?
No, not really. It just looks more like a hoax than anything else.
I say we go find the Patterson.
You know, derivative
and bring them
directly.
We're wasting government money.
Okay,
Well,
John, you were talking over the professor. Let her finish, please.
Okay.
There's certainly things we have to test out. Is what sort of figure would have to be in that suit to get the knee to break where it does and the elbow to break where it does, and still have lower leg action and lower arm action. That we have to figure out to make sure that it could possibly be a hoax.
Does the Major feel anything here?
Wow. In the meta, I almost said hungry. No, nothing in particular here, except the awareness that this is where Sergio, the guy that you thought you killed, was standing. It's just that weird kind of like.
That still doesn't make sense to him because he.
It's a doppelganger. It's somebody that's using his form, or something like his form.
Or maybe it's family relations.
Yeah, I wonder if he had a. I mean, he's just taken over his position.
We have, like, in our genetics, like, we have copies of ourselves in the past.
Was there anything else that we can find out here?
I can't think of anything unless you come up with another question that I haven't thought of. You got what I wanted to give you out of it.
I think we should. Grayson will suggest. Wait, he doesn't know that Marguerite has the original prince.
Oh,
yeah.
What about?
She that's what she she knew where you were going, and so she brought the prints so you could compare them.
Mr.
I,
Grayson.
So, what's up?
Mr. Grayson,
Yes.
if this is supposedly some sort of spirit, or like a Wendigo or what's it, could you do some sort of ritual to see if there's a spirit here that reacts to it? If it's supposedly some sort of spirit.
That could be an angle. So I'll go into
I would have a
commune with any nearby spirits through a Native American dance ritual and see if anything reacts.
Okay, so he's gonna pull out his little tambourine music, that little music box they use with a little drum thing on it, and starts doing his little dance. Marjorie, you do have the footprints. Did you want to compare them? MJ.
Repeat that for me.
Yeah. Do you want? You got the footprints from the 1918 Bigfoot. Did you want to compare them to the footprints here?
Yeah, sure. What do I roll?
You don't have to roll. Just go. Just wanted to ask you if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, sure.
You find that there's about an 1.5-inch variance. The new tracks are about an 1.5 inches longer, and that the heel indentation on the two prints that you have, the left and the right, are more natural. In other words, they've got the deeper heel strike as well as the deeper toe indentation as the steps progress compared to those here on the ground.
All right.
Feet are flat when they're stamped. And the stride length is shorter when someone's stamping their feet on the ground.
Yes.
Like they were purposely trying to make footprints.
Yes.
if you had a dwarf in there, their fingers would be at where the arms would be. And then they could use their hands to make a kind of an arm motion with sort of special prosthetic. Then their legs, their foot would be at the knee joint. And then with an extension, the lower leg.
Wow.
Gene, you're going down a weird path.
We love you. We love it though. That's awesome. She's going with all the possibilities in her head. Marjorie, what you can conjecture from this is that the footprints that you have are either representing a heavier creature or a smaller creature, even though its foot size is about the same.
Are we talking about heavier, or are we talking about like
your creature is both heavier and smaller?
John, you're stepping over her again. Just a second.
Guys, please let me go through my question. Because there's a difference between heavier, bigger, and density, and that's what I'm trying to indicate.
Yes.
With these.
The footprints appear to be showing a physically heavier creature. Now, that may also suggest density, but the footprints that you're looking at are not, by scale, even comparable. It looks like something that has either half the density or half the mass of whatever the steps were in the ones that you have.
Okay, so they are bigger than a human's, you would say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
they're almost 19 inches long.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So what you missed, MJ, is before you joined up, he talked about the footprints were not as deep as they should be, and they were completely flat instead of having a natural heel-toe variance roll.
There should be a density to the
and also
step.
That the stride was much shorter than anything that side should have been doing.
Okay, so it should have a longer stride, and it's almost like, is it sneaking or is it being?
Oh, no.
Yeah, have you seen the Patterson film?
I unfortunately no.
Oh, let me go grab it. I guess
it basically is what I was surmising is that it was stamping its feet, purposely trying to make tracks.
Yeah.
Because it was slamming its feet downwards, straight downwards.
So that's why the tracks are shorter, because it's purposely
Yeah, stamping its feet down instead of making strides.
Or could have been a very large man with extra height added at the head and extra shoes.
But even then, the way that a man
the
would work, it
weight-
would still cause the heel toe roll.
Well, not if he had extensions on his foot
Oh,
that
come on.
he would come down and he couldn't roll his foot.
No, you have to. You don't have a choice about it in that matter
There's
because
a difference with you. I don't have a choice in my foot. It's
But
an
A half
extension.
century ago, two former
But that's-
rodeo
but that's the difference is that
Northwest.
they still have an
The
ankle
film
and,
is
and
yet to
knee
be-
that do that motion when
the
they're
set-
walking.
She's walking across a
Unless it's
And
sandbar.
if
There's-
anything,
A half
with
century woods
extensions
with a
on.
16 millimeter camera.
I've walked with them on before. Your leg still moves in that way. In fact, it's slightly exaggerated because the angle at which your foot has to go because of the extensions, because the angle of the extension is controlled by your ankle instead of your whole leg and your knee, it has to tilt really far.
Yeah. He has. I have one big question.
Hang on a second.
Why?
Hang on a second. Let me show you the video, and then we'll go from there. This is not going to. I don't know exactly the full length of it, but this is what you got to work with. See if I can get this started here. That's it. That's all you got. 5 seconds of video.
Well, we got like 8 seconds because we saw the car beforehand and the
Yes.
man.
Right. Right.
Okay. So let's take this thing in here and walk across, and somebody was filming it. My question is, why? Why did that person, Sergei Corwin, why did he bring this figure here? And somebody was here that could film it possibly and purposely cause this film to be made.
To get us here?
That could be a possibility, or
But that's with my ego thinking that I'm
Yeah.
the center of the
Now
universe.
wait,
but-
she looks at him, and why?
Sorry, you cut out?
Hello?
Yeah. Repeat. We didn't hear you.
I said exactly, because you would be brought in and John would be brought in.
But nothing's happened here. Nothing's come of us coming here.
So far as we know.
maybe we're looking in the wrong spot.
That part I don't know, but it seems to me that this film is what brought this whole thing together.
Okay. Here's the full length version. Here we go. Except for the car. All right. There you go.
Yeah, so it's
The gate looks
The new
natural.
house is
but-
amazing.
So it
Except
doesn't look
there's
like it's
this
stomping,
problem.
but nonetheless, that's what you got to work with. So
Well, it still looks like it's heavily laboring
Right.
back and forth, so it could still be purposely putting its foot down flat
under,
to make
yes,
it ramp.
yes.
yeah.
It's just not raising its knee up like we would when we stomp.
Right.
But then again, it's heavy enough it doesn't really need to.
All right. Anything else you need from the scene here? By the way, they did pull some hairs, and we are doing what little testing we can. There are no follicles on them, so we can't get you a blood typing, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So nothing came of my little ritual. There are no spirits.
Oh no, good point. The only thing you get from it is the fact that there's been a lot of really negative non-native energy in the area, suggesting that perhaps the military may have already tread over the entire area too much to make it useful.
Spirit.
the ritual isn't working. There's too much outside interference.
The outsiders?
What if we tried to follow its path to see where it was leading to?
Right. You followed it. You followed it to the end 3 or 4 different times, and it literally ends 2 steps past the end of the video. I mean, basically, where it passes that last tree, there's 2 more steps, and it's gone.
So
I
it
think
doesn't
we
seem
should
like
go find the person who made the video.
Is there any sort of landmark that the feet might have been leading towards?
Doesn't appear to be. It's alongside of a river.
Huh.
Shall we go find the person who made the video?
I guess so.
Okay, so that's one angle. What else do you guys want to do? Because do you have anything else you want to do on the way back? Patterson's still being held.
What
Patterson,
do you want us to do?
Patterson and Gimlin are still being held by the police. They haven't been released to the public, so to speak, because the military is keeping them on sequester for you. So.
The other thing is, what about the local tribes? Let's find a local
Yeah, I
tribe.
would want to talk to at least
I already tried that, remember?
Well, you researched it to find out that the nearest tribes are the Wishram. You haven't talked to them yet. That was.
Yes, I would like to at least talk to the Wishram.
Do you want to go with them, John?
Yeah, I'll go.
I'd like to go too.
Well, then we're all going, and we'll all go to the Pattersons together too.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Sounds fine.
We'll teach them a lesson for lying.
What?
Yes, John, you're very scary.
Yeah. All right.
No, we're gonna send them to Guantanamo Bay.
Are you drunk?
All right. So you go to visit the Wishram tribe. They have their little location set up for like a visitor center on part of the land that they've been bequeathed by the government. I'm no good at Native American names, so I'm not even going to try to come up with a tribal name for this guy. Just to call him Chief Joe makes it easier.
Okay.
Like John Joe?
I'll
just
get
don't want to deal with making a mistake and getting upsetting somebody from any of the First Peoples or
Right.
anything.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna go up to him. Chief Joe, I'll do it now. I'm gonna actually go straight to the point. What experience do you have with an entity known as Solvata?
He looks such kind of funny, raises an eyebrow. What do you know of Salvata, and why did you bring that up?
I know he was a Native American chief, which was either Spanish and then some. Okay, sorry, John. Player getting mixed up here. So, he was
Involved in the incident?
Yeah, he was involved in the incident with Desmond.
Winnebago.
And possibly a
Raptor.
Wendigo spirit.
Yes, and my friends, I bring it up because my 2 friends are pointing to Samuel and John, has had recent experience with Sobata, or at least something calling itself Sobata. And I
Or calling me Salvata.
That's just your ego, but
Oh, ha ha ha. Oh, that's what happened.
he, I believe that the spirit of Silvata has become a Wendigo, and I'm just trying to figure out whether my suspicions track.
Well, first of all, you found a bit of interesting information. There are more than 3,000 census records of a person by the name of Salvata Wendigo.
Wait, Wendigo is the guy's actual last name.
That's what they know. They know that there was a tribal member long ago, and his name was Wendigo was actually his last name. He lived in the Fort Hood the Mount Hood area around the turn of the 19th century.
18. What was it?
Yeah.
18 what?
1812.
We have knowledge of something that's earlier, around 1812.
Yeah, that's the turn of the 19th century.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that would read credence to it actually being the spirit of this Salvato Wendigo.
Okay, but you keep using the word spirit.
Yeah.
Wendigo
person.
left here in the in that era because he was commissioned as a scout by the U.S. Treasury Department.
Oh,
I kind of look at Sam. Who commissioned him as a scout? Do you have record of that?
No. Not that I know of.
No, I'm asking the chief if they know.
The chief wouldn't
Joe.
know. The chief wouldn't know
Yeah.
who the military was that recruited him or whatever. Let me tell you one other thing though. Apparently, let's see.
I do know that my that Desmond Laughter was part of the treasury.
Yeah, so I'm wanting to figure out whether that's
The
American.
does Wendigo have any more?
But
No, sorry.
that's for another.
Right. Does the Wendigo does Wendigo have any children or relatives?
No, as a matter of fact, his departure was considered a black mark on the tribe because he had been chosen by acclaim to be a chieftain, and he chose to walk away as a scout to the invaders.
In meta, can I get some help real quick?
Sure.
I'm not remembering any sort of link between Salvata and the Wendigo. Maybe I'm wrong, but I was thinking that he was the opposite.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
Oh,
No, I'm trying to get information from the party to
Right.
see where
Okay.
if I missed something they picked up or something.
Gotcha.
no.
no, because I thought the Wendigo was one thing and Salvato was another.
I thought
Maybe
Salvata was the enemy of the Wendigo or something.
They are. That is correct.
Wait,
From the
so,
evidence you've gotten so far, this tribal guy is either lying to you, bald-faced, or there's more to this story.
what would be the equivalent of what would I need to roll to tell if he is lying bold-faced? Actually?
Insight.
I'll give you a 50% chance.
I have a new D2.
Okay, nope.
Wait,
rolled
does it
it,
be higher or
so-
lower?
I have no way of knowing whether he's lying. or
Wait,
not.
what did you roll?
80.
Okay,
Right,
well,
'cause
don't
he's
assume
short.
which way is which.
But he's right because I've been rolling you taking the low half all the way through. Remember 35s and such. So he's right to consider it to be too high. Let's see.
Wait a moment.
Why would he?
MJ, you have in your collection a piece that you hadn't thought of before called the Wendigo relic, and it's a wooden box that no one really ever figured out what it's used for. It's got a mechanism to it, but unless you physically are going to cut it open, it's never been unlatched or opened up. And you wonder if that might be an applicable thing because they haven't been talking about the Wendigo to you before. Is she listening at all?
Nope.
Nope, apparently not. I believe on honesty. That's a good one. So did you hear what I said at all? No?
No.
Okay. They're talking about the Wendigo. You've heard the name Salvata before. They mentioned that to you before, but this is the first time you've heard them mention the Wendigo.
The last thing I remember hearing, and I had am sorry that I am divided.
No worries.
Was
It's okay.
something along the lines of tribe and leaving. And it was one of the party members.
We're talking to a tribal chieftain
Yeah.
of the people who are
The Wishroom.
most
The Wishroom
In
tribe.
Wishrum.
Currently
And-
indigenous to this area.
And we have asked him about Salvata and the Wendigo spirit, and he is saying that they're one and the same, or that Wendigo is just the last name of Salvata, which we believe not to be true.
True.
And we have just talked about the Wendigo, so that's what you're linking to click in your memory, that you have a box that is called the Wendigo Relic, and it has never been opened.
So would I correlate that this is like a Pandora's box and not open it?
Well, no,
Or-
the issue is that because it's a tribal artifact, you're not allowed to.
Oh,
But this
so
is the
even if
first-
I wanted to.
Well, this is the first time the subject of that device has even crossed your mind, because you hadn't thought about Wendigo in that term because you thought of it as being a native spirit thing. But this guy's
Sure.
saying that Wendigo is a last name. So if it's arguably belongs to a person, then you can get different rights to it, because then you could actually argue that it belongs to the individual, not to the nation.
That's subjective, and I know
I
by
like it.
law, it has to be dependent on.
However, he said there's 3,000 references to Salvador Wendigo in records.
Yes, and if Wendigo is a last name, then that means that there is more than one Wendigo, which does not mean by default that it's his. So if we give it up to him immediately,
No, that's not what's going on.
No.
Clarification,
Okay.
The reason why I'm feeding this to you in particular, Allie, is that
Okay.
you, because it's an antique, you would love to have the rights to go to look into this thing.
Okay.
You're like
okay.
the Geraldo Rivera. You've
Sure.
you've got this box. You'd love to be able to open it, but it's been marked as the Wendigo relic, and therefore everyone thought it had to do with the Indian spirit. If it's an Indian
Sure.
spirit thing, it belongs to the tribe and cannot be opened. But this
Sure.
guy's now saying that Wendigo is a last name, ergo that it could be something you could open, which gives you a possible lever to make him tell the truth, because if he doesn't want you to open it, he'll have to.
Oh, so if this is not the spirit and is indeed a last name, you won't mind me opening this as I slowly start to pry it
Well, you-
open.
No, you don't. You don't have it here. You just.
Oh.
it is-
Oh no,
the
I just
leverage- You're going.
I give the motion of opening a
Right.
box.
Right, and he'll actually stop and say, that wouldn't be wise, and I don't know of what you're speaking. Of course, the Wendigo is the spirit of our people that avenges cruelty.
So you were named after a spirit that avenges? That's a
It's
very
not his name. It's not his name.
I'm going off the idea that I'm humoring him.
But you're thinking that this is him. This him is Wendigo, and it's not. They're asking
No.
about Wendigo from a chieftain who claims that this guy's been acting like an authority all of a sudden. Everybody else
No.
you've talked to has been really ambiguous. This guy's all of a sudden being really factual and just chatty Cathy, just giving out information left and right.
And for me, I'm just thinking in the mind process of why would somebody be named after a vicious spirit that kills things? That's the answer that I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to get him out of his steps and admit to, okay, it's not really an actual last name.
Right.
He just kind of did.
Yes. I said you don't want to open that, and it is, of course, the dark spirit. So I really told you more than I should.
Well,
Mm,
Well, you
Right
haven't
now-
told us enough to begin with, for sure, because we're dealing with it right now.
sounds like you're just saying a whole lot of hottie just to get your hands on it.
Okay.
Hands on what?
The box. Not you personally.
No,
him.
Allie, you've kind of skipped a step there. The
Oh.
Salvato, the Wendigo box isn't here. It has
No,
not been
I'm
here.
saying, I know, I'm not
This
saying
guy
that
does-
it's
this guy,
here.
this guy technically has possession of it because it belongs to the Native American tribe.
But he hasn't mentioned it at all either.
You're the first one to bring it up. And when you brought it up, he immediately starts backpedaling. And then he says he's told you too much. Of course, you're agreeing that you've got more that you'd like to know, but your focus is not on the box. That's I gave that to you as a lever to use on him.
Oh.
Sorry, it's just that you.
I'm just confused because how am I supposed to use it as a lever if I can't bring it up? And if I can't bring it up, how can I?
No. Okay. You as a character knew about the box.
Yes.
But the box is not physically here, and nor were you really going to be opening it. But
yes.
You know that he, as a Native American, would be offended if you were trying to open one of his relics.
Yes.
He's the one that opened the door to this conversation by saying that Wendigo isn't really a spirit, that Wendigo is this guy.
Sure.
So all you're doing is trying to get him to admit that he's lying about Wendigo being a guy.
That's what I'm on the same page as that. That's what I've been stating. I'm not.
It felt like you were trying to keep him from getting the box, but he doesn't. He potentially already has the box. So all you're trying to do is get him to say that he didn't. That he's making shit up.
Oh, okay.
So.
Because you made it sound like I actually had the box, but I just have information on the box.
Well, yes, you are aware.
No, you just caught him in a lie. If he admits that Wendigo is the name, that means he loses the right to the box. Therefore, you can use it as a leverage that, do you really want to lose the box, or are you going to be honest with us?
Tell us the truth.
Okay. Go for that then.
Okay. In that case, he will say, all right, the reality is that the Salvato Wendigo connection dates back farther than your historical records, that there were warring spirits in this region when the first peoples came here, and that the spirits constantly required fundamentally two sacrifices that fundamentally canceled each other out. And if that is accomplished, then peace remains in the area and everything goes on fine.
And then the Fire Nation attacked.
Right. Well, yeah. and that alliance held true until the Native American populace up here was interfered with in the 1800s, when a Treasury Department action moving a considerable number of wagons through the area basically overran the tribe during the period of the ritual. In which case, two individuals by the name of Desmond and what was the other guy's name? Aldine Rutherford.
Yeah.
The two of them get embroiled in the local situation and end up appropriating those spirits. When they left, the ritual was not completed.
So
Since then, since the Native Americans at that point began their downward slide as the Europeans kept moving into the area and they started bringing in the Chinese for their trains and all that kind of stuff, this entire area was considered to be under a curse because the spirits that once protected them have been lost.
all right.
Now the question that that where you'll lose him, where he honestly can't tell you anymore, is when you ask him about what happened on the road in Patterson situation, and he says that he has no idea that they have released the second half of that footage, so he has seen the creature. He says, but that creature doesn't exactly give justice to the Salvata at all.
What is this ritual you're talking about?
Well,
That the two spirits had to do.
yeah. So it was the war of air and earth, that the spirit of the air attempts to destroy the spirit of the earth, and the spirit of the earth is trying to protect life here by destroying the spirit of the air.
And why can't you redo the ceremony?
Because the spirits left. Spirits were taken from us.
Do you know where they were taken?
That mountain in 1812.
No, he already told us that they were taken by the two men, Laughter and Aldine.
So that kind of
Oh
tracks
my god.
because if they were, this is me just surmising, Major, but if they were taken by Laughter and Aldine, ergo, maybe that's why you two are connected. Because it is the spirit.
Who knows, Grayson? Let's talk about that
Not
a
here.
little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
He'll shut up.
Yeah, I would say you wouldn't have wanted to mention either of those names since the Native American just named them both.
Yeah, and
I'd
then
What
like
about
to
this-
name tag that conversation.
but I would like to know, what did the wind spirit look like?
Oh, the spirit of the air?
Yeah, the spirit of air. Did they have a representation like Avatar?
Oh, it was just the eyes that floated in the eyes that yeah, it has a form, but we don't share that with
Well, I recommend
White
you
man.
share it with us.
You can recommend all you want, but that's private. That's holy for us.
Alright, I guess we're just gonna have to open the box then, since you already said that.
Settle down, Johnny boy. Settle down.
He gets wound up, doesn't he?
Right. Chief, we are very grateful for your information. I can't tell you how truly important this is to us and to you. We would like to know more about this ritual if you would be so kind as to let us know. Out of respect, we'd like to know about this very important ritual that has been unsuccessful for so long.
Well, the only one of no offense to you, but the only one of your number that I'd be willing to share that with would be Grayson.
Very well, I can respect that. Let's leave them alone if he wishes to talk about it.
Alright.
I'll be.
And Marjorie, because Marjorie mentioned the fact that she's got this box and or got access to this box. We might be able to trade information for the relic itself.
Don't
Okay,
do that
but,
to me, John. I almost
we want
got
the
angry.
Avatar of both the heaven and earth.
Don't do what to you?
I had the box and then now I don't. Now I do.
No.
You have always had access to it. You know where it is. I didn't want you to think that it was about the opening of the box.
No, I knew it was about that, but anyways, I digress.
Sorry for if you say doing it to you. I didn't mean to offend.
It's cool. No offense. No offense. Just more of. I'm like, where? Ketchup.
Ketchup.
Ketchup?
Ketchup.
Ketchup?
All right.
I don't like ketchup on my fries.
All right. Once the rest are out of hearing, he basically.
Sam will make sure he ushers everybody, especially John, away
Yes.
from the conversation.
All right.
Oh, do it.
So, Grayson, the question that was asked is, what is the manifestation of the spirit of the air and the spirit of the earth?
No. My question was about the ritual specifically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But he's now.
So the ritual is fundamentally survival of the fittest in the most base form. A creature of the earth and a creature of the air fight in the ritual for dominance, and both are consumed in the process.
Okay.
One physically eats the other's form, while the other feasts on the other one's mind.
Okay, so. But because the spirits are no longer here, we couldn't possibly complete do the ritual and reestablish balance.
The balance of nature is always going to be maintained. It's just that it is no longer giving the blessings to the tribes who had maintained it for so long, because the necessary essences were stolen.
Access rights.
What was that?
Rights to access the process.
No, it was more appropriation of positioning. It's all about the steps of the dance, if you will. And the two drunken fellows, Grayson, I'm sorry, Grayson, Rutherford and Desmond. The two of them had been drinking rather heavily and stumbled into a ritual being performed, and literally fell across the sands and became the manifestations of the spirits.
So, Grayson will physically put his hand to his head. I'm just trying to figure this out because the spirits are restless. Something is happening here now, and I'm just trying to find a way to stop it before anyone else gets hurt. But if the ritual can't help, sorry, I am a little flustered. I am trying to find a way to appease the spirits with. This isn't making any sense to you, is it?
No, you seem to be rambling a bit.
I saw a way through to it. The point is, if the Indians have a ritual which
You're not there though.
I know I'm not.
So you
I'm
know
in the meta. He is sitting there knowing that these two men have the spirits within them.
Yes.
But he doesn't know who they are in this case. He knows them as Desmond and Rutherford. He doesn't know them as Laughter and Aldine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not telling them, by the way.
Well, maybe if he mentioned that two of the men in that group are descendants from those original.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what we're not doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to tell him that, but I'm.
No, but Grayson, because you know both names, you're now aware of it. That's probably what's causing you to be babbling, is that you're aware of that reality.
But I don't want to tell him that. But I'm trying to find a way to get if the ritual would work.
The ritual happens every time. It always has.
Yes, okay, he knows that, but based on what Grayson knows in character, he is trying to find a way to avoid. This isn't meta. He's trying to find a way to do the ritual without sacrificing John or Samuel.
To do that, we would need to know more about how the ritual is actually done. Not what it symbolizes.
Right.
So he's gonna go. I apologize for babbling. What does this ritual entail?
I can't give you any more than that because you're not parts of the tribe. You just know that it has to happen. The one thing that you pretty much have already figured out, it must have to happen on the solstice.
Okay, how close are we to this? In meta, how close are we to this?
It's not meta. It's in the next 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
And you know that that this tribe is the one that has been doing the ritual. So you're actually going to have to sneak in and spy on them if you want to know what the ritual is.
I'm totally up for that.
Okay, so
I'll be involved too.
I'm wondering.
John has so much stealth. He's so sneaky. No one would ever know that he was there.
I'm joking, damn it.
As Grayson is.
Sorry, meta. I'm meta. That was a joke.
And you're talking over Samuel again. What?
Did we not establish that Grayson is a shaman?
He is a shaman, but not for this tribe in particular. He's recognized by the tribes. That's why they're willing to tell him stories, but they're not going to allow him to be a performer in the ritual.
Because that begs the question: what tribe would I be, and could I
I get the impression that because you're a buyer into astrology and stuff, that you probably aren't directly affiliated with any of them. But like a lot of spiritualists, you kind of equate yourself to them, and they begrudgingly accept you as one, as a shaman only in the general definition of the term.
Oh God! So I can't use that to get in with the tribe. So we are gonna have to.
Well,
form
also from a now I'll get to use the meta. In the meta, the cultists never invite the scientists to come to their rituals.
True. Oh, so okay. Ow! You just
Somebody's actually trying to call these horrible things into existence all the time, and in this case, you've discovered that it's the Native Americans that are calling on this extra dimensional force.
okay. So I'm gonna keep that under
So
my
great,
eye.
we found the answer. We just kill all the Indians and everything goes fine, right? That's the answer?
We are not committing. In that we are not committing genocide here.
Right. We're gonna give them
But we're
blankets.
part of the U.S. government. That's our.
That's our
Oh my God!
nice.
Modus
That's our.
operandi?
What's? Yeah, that's it. Modus operandi.
Uh,
Nice. You guys are psyched.
Let's do it. Click, click.
so I've got
now,
what
now
I.
you know why John brought the machine gun. Boom, boom.
Oh my God!
Yeah, man. You never know when
He's
you
got
need
a
to do
pistol.
something.
Hey,
So I've got
hey.
what I need.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to beat your head against a brick wall if you're not getting any headway. We can always come back.
Right.
We can always extort him later, you know?
Thank you for your time, and I will bow and
Anything
leave
for
the.
you? Anything more for you, MJ? Since you were there.
No, I'm just taking it all in and jotting down notes here and there.
Okay. So he comes out coughing
okay,
from
man?
that peace pipe he was smoking.
Oh damn. Can I have some of that piece?
No, John, no. You don't get to have the
Oh
peace
wait,
pipe
we
and a
never
gun.
found out the avatars.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Peace pipe and a gun. He'll fall asleep, and then you'll be killing things.
Why do in meta,
ask about
Stephen?
the
Why
damn
do we?
avatars.
No, wait. In meta, why do you need to know about the avatars? It's pretty dang obvious.
Well, fine.
He's asking a question. Why do you want to know, John? Tell him.
That's this thing I thought about. I guess we already know. Never mind.
Yeah, put together the pieces. One is air, one is earth. Earth is probably the gooey stuff. Air
No.
is probably
No.
No,
No?
air is the gooey stuff.
Air is the gooey stuff. Because it's the one that's coming from another place and makes people crazy.
Well, I was thinking like if we
Earth
know the
is
avatars,
obviously
maybe
the
we can
one
look
that,
it
that
through.
has the big bestial who is of Earth
okay.
trying to protect and stop things from invading, you know. Not to mention that he let slip about eyes in reference to the wind spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
The eye fever.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, yeah, I think we got it covered. Unless I'm very, very much mistaken.
Which is.
Which is never a possibility.
What about recording the ceremony? Somebody come back and recording it.
Yeah,
with
that
video.
always works famously for Native Americans. They really like people recording their
No,
stuff.
no, but secretly. Tape
Yeah,
it, and then we
yeah.
can try to play it and get those things out of the guys.
Okay, in meta, just going off of natural tropes, that means we kind of have a deadline of that time to figure it out, not that we can wait for that time to happen and then figure it out afterwards. Because if they do the ritual, and especially if we're present at the ritual, then shit's going to go down.
That's gonna be fun.
Am I wrong in that? A possibility,
Oh,
people?
most likely no.
Yeah, most likely it will happen.
I'm gonna
Right,
get some
so rather we're
Franklin.
there or not, it's going to happen. Let's go
So you need to
see if
solve
we can
this
figure out what we can before that happens.
That's what I
Like-
also
So
wanted to.
Grayson will come back and say
If we have the avatars, couldn't we like use it as
the
reference to other cultures?
Avatars.
As a reference towards other cultures.
To other cultures, yes, but
Yes,
we
and
already have the knowledge to do that.
Yes, you have
All
to
right.
get. And Grayson's going to come back and tell you what he just experienced.
Yeah. Well, I've learned a lot, and nothing of it is. Some of it is quite uncomfortable.
Such as?
First of all, it is this group of Native Americans that are doing the ritual to try and contact these two entities.
How so?
They believe that
The constant conflict keeps things in balance, yes?
Yes, and the two spirits must equally consume one another for the ritual to be complete. When your ancestors, this is his words, I apologize, in a drunken stupor, stumbled into their ritual in 1812, they became the manifestations of Sobata and whatever the spirit of wind is named. And that's why.
No, that makes sense.
Sorry. Whatever the spirit of Wendid's named.
Wendig, I don't know what that would be.
Wendig named.
From the sands I come, Sanskrit, and from that which and into the wind I go.
So when basically, long story short, you guys are the manifestation of the Wendigo and Sobata.
Aye.
And that is why you guys are connected. That is, you are most likely Sobata because that would explain the hunger.
Aye, and me going crazy because that's how he attacks.
Yeah.
John seems to have a connection with the Wendigo.
And that also explains why the big static thing was trying to kill him in the tub.
Yes. But due to the fact that I am not a member of the tribe, I cannot observe the ritual or take part in it.
But you know when it's going to happen in 3 days.
Yeah, the ritual will happen in 3 days because it has to be in correlation with the solstice. So we have to get here in 3 days, and
or we avoid the hell out of it in 3 days. I'd rather not get whatever beasties inside me ripped out of my soul and forced to combat another one, if possible.
Or we let them out.
Yes, I was trying to find a way to do that without murdering you both, but...
Aye, so are we thinking that the ritual is what causes this to happen? Or is it a natural occurrence that's going to happen anyways?
Sounds like the latter.
Yes, the latter. It's going to happen in 3 days, regardless of where you guys are. But the ritual is a way of appeasing them and basically completing their... Okay, John is holding his head.
Right, because you misinterpreted slightly. They had told you that the ritual was the ritual of the interaction between the two, but these two who stumbled in a drunken stupor became the manifestations.
So it's the ritual that caused us to house these spirits.
Yes.
And your drunken state.
Your
ancestral drunken state, which opened your spirit.
Well, Sam naturally ignores drunken state because that's just,
Exactly.
We're Irish, it's in our blood
Exactly.
to just be schneckered.
So, do you guys have to be drunk for this too? Or am I just...
What? How am I not drunk already, by the way? I've been drinking vodka and milk this whole time.
You might have
Oh
a
my
higher
God.
alcohol tolerance.
Sorry, in meta, my patience is wearing thin.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So if I can lay some records straight,
Sure.
to my understanding, please correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong. The point is not that this ritual is going to help anything. This ritual is what has been done by them for centuries, and two outsiders coming in to this ritual, they became the sacrifices. Sacrifices in terms of housing the bodies. That is what caused them to go and eat each other and whatnot.
And drive each other insane. Yes.
Right. So this ritual is what causes that to happen. Or it did in the past. Now that our genetics are now mixed in and we are traditionally the bearers of these spirits, then I don't even know if the ritual is even relevant anymore, because whether they do it or not, we're still going to be housing the spirits, or if them doing the ritual is what's causing the spirits to manifest.
Or if you could be back where they were, you could perhaps re-release the spirits back out of complete a cycle, so to speak.
Right. But then again, completing the cycle results in both of our death, which is a valiant way to go, but it also could release these possibly, at least one, very possibly dangerous spirit into the world for it to just happen again next year.
True.
Yeah, and if the Indians get the power to fight off their enemies,
Indigenous.
see America as their enemy.
It's 1960. They were still calling them Indians. The world hadn't gone so hypersensitive yet. So, in story, it's okay, but in reality, we recognize they are the first peoples and all that. But this is a period piece, so don't worry about it.
There's also the possibility that succumbing to the ritual could make bad things happen. So we need to find out more if we can.
Yep, you got 3
do
days.
One way or the other.
Yep.
We should have a person of Indian culture.
Well,
like
that's the direction Grayson will go with his research. You were saying you wanted to go look at other cultures, right?
Yeah.
To see if there's any easier answers of similarities elsewhere. We also wanted to possibly check in with the Pattersons, but that seems less important now.
Well, that'll give you an angle on possibly the other Sasquatch kind of creatures, see whether or not they're even associated.
Well, it seems safe to assume that that's a given or a non-issue either way. With a 3-day deadline and ultimately doom pending.
Well,
apparently they were performing this ritual before as a balancing act, because this ritual wasn't a new ritual on the day they performed it. It was an old ritual. So
Right.
it was something that's ongoing. Just somehow that you guys, your ancestors who were drunk and got involved in, got caught by the spirits. Now what we have to do is draw them out of you without killing you.
yes,
And perhaps the ritual will do that. If we can find somebody that will teach us a ritual or a like ritual.
But did you hear what the ritual entailed, Gene?
Oh, yes, the two entities that are drawn out of you will consume each other. That doesn't mean...
No.
That we are two sacrifices that impersonate the entities and act it out. That is the ritual. It's two men being sacrificed to these entities so that they can kill each other.
That's slightly off, but yes, the idea is that there was only the ritual. There were no sacrifices until Rutherford and Desmond stumbled in. And they got into a place where they did not know what they were doing, and they became the manifestations because they were drunk and susceptible in a place of spiritual power that bridged the gap that shouldn't have been bridged.
We have to find a Native American shaman in the next few days that can possibly draw these spirits out successfully. Separate the spirits from your flesh, but leave you whole.
What?
Is that a safe thing to do?
We have to find out. We have 3 days to do it.
No. You're not to do it.
me. I mean,
No.
Anyway, you guys have been talking as you've been driving to, just so that we can put a pin in it. You've been driven, even though you may not have actually intended to where they're holding Patterson and Gimlin, so you can talk to them.
all right.
Let's scare the pants off of them.
Just why don't you let the
Oh,
major talk,
No.
since he's your superior?
You're not my superior.
Did you listen to my words? He is your superior.
Yeah, but you're telling me the order.
No, I didn't
I-
tell you anything except to say he
The
is
two of
your
them were
superior.
brought in their little orange jumpsuits, still bewildered. They can't believe they're being held.
Mr. Patterson, Mr. Gimble, I
Uh,
presume.
Gimlin, but that's okay. They always get my name
Aye.
wrong.
Mine too. They call me Lassiter, but my name's Laughter.
Oh, I know
So-
Lassiter. He had a problem with a bite in his arm last time I saw him.
Aye, bastard. Anyways, so if you want to get out of this mess, I need all the information that you can give.
All right. Well, we're riding our horse down the trail.
Oh, and just for your sakes, don't lie to me because I will know.
Oh, sure. So anyway, Bob Giblin lives here in the local area. Roger's from Portland. We were on the banks of the Bluff Creek in Northern California, and we were riding along and heard the sound of we thought it might have been a gunshot. So we got out our camera and started moving through the underbrush, figuring we were going to catch ourselves a poacher or something. And you know, we understand and abide by the hunting laws up here, and knew that it was the wrong season to be out there with a rifle.
You seem to be making a lot of reasons for you to have a video camera.
Well, yes. I mean,
What were you planning to do with a video camera out there?
well, we've been filming the trail. We're horsemen, and we ride this
Could I-
section.
Could I see the other videos that you may have taken that day?
That's already been taken by the authorities.
I only see the one video.
I honestly don't know what happened to the rest of them.
Hmm. Continue.
Anyway, we was coming down the trail, and Roger left me with the horse and went ahead a bit and motioned for me to come up real quick like, and I trotted up there with my camera, and we shot the video, and
In meta.
Yeah.
Aha! No. Just kidding.
Nice.
Back in scene.
Exactly. So with that you know, we saw the car, and we didn't know who it was at the time, but we took the picture, and then that thing starts walking off to the right there, and we just took the picture.
And did it get out of the car?
Well, I didn't actually see it get out of the car. I saw it standing inside the car because the film, Gimlin's the one who actually filmed it. Patterson was already up there closer. Although,
Right, Mr. Patterson.
Yeah.
You were up there closer. What did you see? Did you see it get out of the car?
no, I saw a guy leaning against the car, and then he looked over at me. When he looked over at me, then this thing was standing there right beside him. And it didn't even look at him. It just turned and walked away. And as it did, I was motioning my buddy, and so when I looked back, it was already trotting across that field.
Wait.
And what happened when it materialized, so to speak?
The guy fell on the ground. Or he fell in the car, I can't remember. I think he might have fallen in the car.
Could you
Oh.
try to remember exactly? Did he fall on the ground, or did he fall in the car?
Well, now that you say it that way, I don't think he was out of the car. I think he was like sitting on the windowsill or something or other, because I could see him, and then I saw the thing, and I don't recall what happened to him. But anyway,
Well, I thought-
once he fell inside, once the creature started walking across, then the car just sped away.
Can you tell me anything else about the car?
Yeah, it had Ava's license plates. Said
Avis.
yeah, number 2. We try harder.
Okay. Anything about make, model, color?
It was mid-size. Well, actually, it was been a sedan. It had been probably an Impala.
Okay. Now, what happened when this thing exited out of the frame?
Well, we ran up there to see if we could get a better shot at it. We didn't see it anymore.
Did you follow the footsteps?
Well, yeah. As soon as we saw him, we decided we better not walk on him. So we went and got some plaster and started making tracks from him. But I went out and walked down the trail and saw where they terminated. And I didn't see anywhere else they went from there.
Now, what about this man? What can you tell me about the man?
Well, my grandfather would have said he looked like a Ruski because he had that funny hat on his head.
He's gonna call in a sketch artist and have them do the old style
Right.
sketching of the face, give them possible
Yeah.
different eyebrows. Does this look like it? Is this closer?
Right.
Well, like, get a sketch of the guy.
Yes, and as he's describing it, you're kind of looking over the shoulder, and it's increasingly looking more and more like Sergei.
Okay. Right. You will tell no one about any of this.
Oh,
At least, besides the Bigfoot, whatever it is, you can go all blathering about that. That doesn't matter. But the man in the car doesn't exist. Do you understand me?
yeah, that's what the police told us too.
Aye, but I'm not the police. Do you understand me?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if you cross me, you won't be going back into any jail cell. You'll disappear. You understand?
That's rather extreme, but okay. I think
Aye.
you're a bit hyperbolic.
Have a great day. I may be in contact with you soon.
I hope not. If that's your attitude, I don't want to die. Thank you.
Me too. I would very much like to never see you again. Have a wonderful life until I see you again.
All right. Anybody else want to talk? Otherwise,
I want
John goes. I got some questions for you.
Like, the only thing is when they describe the like emerging of this thing, does that kind of track with either of the Wendigo? Well, specifically the Wendigo, just so Grayson would know whether that's a thing the Wendigo may be able to do, because from what they were describing, the thing just appeared next to him. No,
It doesn't sound anything like the Wendigo.
Okay.
It does.
So
It also doesn't sound anything like the origin stories of Sasquatch either, for that matter.
So this
is a lie.
sounds
It doesn't match with the Native American interpretation, but realize Native American interpretation is just that.
yeah. So he has no. Grayson will have no questions because it's like
Right.
he's kind of still on the Native American end.
I have a question.
Sure.
Could it possibly have been that some car was waiting for that thing on the other side that you didn't see?
Oh, there's no road over there, ma'am. It's going right. You went right down, just basically to the edge of the tree line by the creek.
Where did it come from? Which?
It came
From the
from
car.
No, I mean, where did the car come from? Which direction?
Well, it was facing the same direction we were traveling, so it must have come from the same place we came from, which was down the road. Although we don't remember seeing the car move.
Until after the Bigfoot appeared and it took off.
Right.
Which could have been it was there already. Okay. Interesting, but non-conclusive.
Okay, so here's the bad news: is that this is the end of a day, and so guess who needs to take a nap?
I have
Not
one
you.
question
Sure.
before that,
Sure.
and it's in meta.
Okay.
Where the hell does Sergey come into this? Because he's not in my family line. So why would he have the genetic spirit of the Earth thing, whatever, if he is not a laughter?
Then you probably want to look into the history of creatures like Bigfoot found in other places in the world. Because I
Yeah.
guarantee you're going to find that in the Middle Europe, they also have stories.
That's what I was saying with the avatars.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Corwin is not one of the laughters, and therefore this shows
Or
signs
the
of
Aldens.
something other than this.
And maybe we can
Yeah.
use him as a sacrifice instead of us.
Or maybe we go to him and he teaches me the Jedi powers of how to summon my beast spirit.
Could be.
And then I fight like a Power Ranger.
Or you find out he's actually sympathetic with the communists and is hoping to
and then I
overthrow
kill him
America.
again.
Exactly.
Either way, it's a win-win-win.
Well,
I win, you win.
We all
America
win for ice cream.
wins.
Yeah, exactly. God
Hmm.
bless America.
Sounds like a great time.
should I release the monsters though?
No.
Honestly, that'd be fun.
Remember that we're taking things seriously, remember? We're not just doing things to do them.
Look at twice. This one thing has
Oh,
tried
yeah,
to come
yeah.
out of Alden, and yours has gotten free, totally free of you. If in those free forms they fight, then the result of
Well,
that
I
fight,
was not thinking of the fighting part. I was more
Listen up.
thinking of
the result of it is that you guys are not involved. Just the things that came out of you are involved.
oh man. No, that's not.
I
it.
don't
That-
think so.
But the point
If
is,
we
it was
fight,
totally
we have
separate.
that.
The manifestation of that thing, that earth spirit, and the manifestation were becoming separate from the both of you.
Oh no, that's not what I was saying.
So once they're
No,
out
but
of
if you take into account John's dreams and everything, that's not the case. There is no manifestation of the wind spirit besides the people that it's working through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
If I
vomits
let
up
my
the
wind
slugs
spirit
and
out-
it causes insanity.
And then in the meta, which the thing I didn't tell you guys, the guy told me how to end it in the sense. We're taking
Okay,
half my
we
brain
get
out.
the one run out of you and we kill John.
No. That's
She laughs.
Well, that's what you surmised from it, but that was coming from a non-necessarily reliable source.
Yeah, sorry about that. I
Yeah,
admit I'm sorry about that.
Because of course it wants you to end up with getting your brain eaten.
true that.
So we can't really count on that. And we
Well,
don't know if
again, I
we'll
did
even
not
like
tell
that
you guys.
ending.
I didn't-
Ending is not necessarily the thing we're shooting for, but the good ending.
Exactly.
Not just a ending where all the monsters run free and the world dies, you know?
Yeah.
We might
Wait,
want to be a little bit more sure before we
Aren't
go
some
around
of those
releasing
monsters
spirits.
more involved with themselves than others?
No.
He said they always fight to some conclusion where they destroy themselves.
Yes, because one chooses to fight the other. But the other one goes about making everybody eat each other, because remember, it was the whole company that ate each other,
Right.
not just the two.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the Wendigo.
Yes.
That's the madness. It's actually the combination, but you have to reconcile that.
So how do we reconcile these two things that are within you? You have to dominate them so that they do not express themselves.
Gene,
Oh, well.
He's honestly trying to think of things.
Yeah, I get that you are. It's just
you're going off of a quarter of the information.
I only have a quarter of the information to work with.
Then
So-
don't try to make conclusions off of a quarter. Let's
so
find out more
let's
information.
gather more information. All right.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it is heading for nighttime, and we are heading back to the station, and we are down to 3:35. So I think another bout of insanity is about to happen. John, you're going to attempt to sleep, or are you going to try to stay awake?
I'm gonna go sleep.
Of course,
I'm
he is.
drunk. I'm enjoying.
Sam's gonna try to stay awake and focus on keeping whatever the hell John's about to do
I'm
In check.
sleeping
contained.
Yes.
while I'm drunk.
Thanks, John.
All right, I'll stay out. But if you really want.
No. Go to sleep. It's fine.
That's not that wasn't the part.
I don't want to make you
that-
mad. I won't do it.
Okay, that wasn't what he was responding to. It was the other part. But
Being
I'm
drunk.
you clearly are attempting to.
I'm not doing nothing, sir. I was just saying I was drunk because I've been drinking all day.
Okay, Steven.
Nothing has to happen at all.
I think pretty much that's not how that works. But all right, so you're bedding down. John's determined to stay awake. Are you going to stay within sight, John? Therefore, standing in his room, or are you going?
You mean Sam?
Sam? Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna sleep in the same bed.
No. Sam is going to be in the room, sitting in a chair, watching.
Meditating.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
then
gonna go
again,
meditate.
the things
Yeah.
never manifest with him in the room at the same time. So maybe he'll sit right outside the room with like a baby monitor, so he can listen for the gushy gurglings of when the slugs come out.
Nice.
I could sit in there.
Feel free.
Okay.
I just need to know who's staying up, so I know who's going to be fatigued next time we play. That's all I'm looking for.
Grayson, you want to join in on this? Let's all stay up, then we can all agree to sleep all day tomorrow.
That won't help us do research.
Yes, it will. We'll just have to do it all at night. Time is time. Doesn't matter about the sunlight. We're underground in a military base anyways.
We'll be fine. We have
Grayson
military
will
to with us.
I'll hope
stay up
whatever
maybe
happens
a
opens.
couple hours to
Okay.
see if
How about we
anything-
sleep on a rotation? Someone's in there all the time. There's
No.
1, 2, 3 of us
not
that
military.
are not the prime occupants.
You
And
realize we're in the military base, right? We can just have
You're
people...
asleep, John.
I'm not asleep yet. I said I'm gonna go sleep. And I'm saying we have a military base. Why don't we just have military personnel check me every 5 minutes?
No.
And you guys can get some sleep.
Sam's taking a little bit more interest in this because he recognized that he may be a filter to this. Anyway, so I assume, Professor, you'll be watching on the monitors of John's room rather than actually watching over him with your eyes, because you've been using that the last couple of nights. Is that not correct,
Mm.
Professor?
yes, I thought you said Sam.
No, I said Professor.
Oh, okay, Professor.
Yes. All right.
Victoria, please.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh my
Okay, Vicky.
All right. So you're watching on the monitor. John finally drifts off. Sam's in the next room. Anybody watching Sam this time? Because last time you had Lassiter watch. Grayson, are you staying up too, or are you trying to crash?
I'm gonna stay up a couple hours to see what happens because I don't want to.
Watch Lassiter.
Yeah.
I mean, watch Laughter.
She did it again.
No,
Hello.
Guys,
So-
there's more than one camera. He can watch both at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
that hard.
So, 13.
Sorry to interrupt, but Nimros is doing something really cute right now.
Take a
She's
picture.
asleep, and her nose is twitching, and her tongue's hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. If I get up, she's gonna wake up.
Cute.
Mm.
Oh, her nose is twitching like that. She's hunting a wabbit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he had.
Yep. And
Okay.
so is John. John's tossing and turning in his bed, pretty stridently. A voice says, "Are we prepared, John?"
I don't know.
You must choose the time. Are we prepared? John, are we prepared?
I'm thinking.
What are you thinking about, John? We haven't much time. Are we prepared?
I think so. I think we are. In a few days, there will be a ritual.
Well, as you're absolutely ambivalent about it, Spirit says, "Rest now. Then you'll need your strength." And as you fall off to sleep, Sam feels a wave of unconsciousness passing over him. So Sam gets to make a dex save. Yeah, let's go with the 35%. You're trying.
I saith nay.
Can I go ahead and meta for a second?
14.
Wait. I want
Suck
to go
it.
ahead before you do anything.
What?
I was saying yes to this so I can get information out and understand what's happening. And I am not gonna release the beast, but I want
I
to.
think it's a bit late for that.
And I asked you if you were prepared twice, and you said that you were not certain. And so, as you fall asleep for the first time in nights, you have a completely dreamless sleep. However, Sam attempts. He starts to nod off, and he feels a clawing at the back of your brain, and he shakes himself back to consciousness. And watches John fall asleep. And for the first time in days, you can relax because nothing manifests.
Thank God Almighty.
So after some period of time, you will finally realize that he's into the next phase of sleep, and so he will not be having one of his visions tonight. And
She calls in somebody to keep watching the monitor to make sure everything is going okay, and she goes off to bed.
all right.
Same.
Meanwhile, at the urgent care center downtown.
Urgent care?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yes.
A congressman under sedation begins to scream. And we'll call it because it's 3:45 and we won't have time to play any more of it.
You and your
You did that on purpose. The perils of Pauline. At the end of the thing, she's in trouble again, and then the serial stops, and you have to come back next week to find out what happened.
Exactly.
Yep.
And,
I hate you.
you can also thank the congressman for not being here today, so we didn't have to deal with his condition until next week, which gave me some time to work on how I was going to follow this out, and I think we did okay. I think we pulled out of the dive. We're going to go ahead and end the stream. Thank you guys for watching today. Make sure you catch us up for Shatterhorn later tonight.